I am Dr. Jay Hitson, founder of GoodDoctors.Health, and I am so excited to be with you here today. We are doing an entire series on anti aging, and we're going to be doing a lot of work today, specifically on the anti aging mind. How do people who are growing old with such vitality and youthfulness, it's more than just what they're eating, and it's more than just how, like a magic diet or a supplement that makes all the difference. It really has a lot to do with mindset, how you're approaching the different challenges that are going to come with aging, but looking at them from a completely different perspective. And for a lot of you who are part of Good Doctors and you're working with me on an ongoing basis, many of you are already, continuous members. We're going to be really advancing and challenging our conversations because here's what's important. A lot of aging well is who you surround yourself with. I was recently talking about this, how at what point did it become acceptable dinner party conversation to be talking about our prostates and our recent colonoscopies and how, like, these weird, you know, medical conversations are now just like part of, like, this is just what we talk about, and our aches and our pains and all of that. Let me just tell you, I mean, some of us, we need to get around some younger people because frankly, the people we are talking to and our demographic, they are aging us. And that's part of what I love about what we're doing with this membership, and the individuals who are watching here, and a lot of you who are really following and working with me. We're not accepting that narrative. That may be true for those individuals. That may even be true for the people in our families, but that doesn't have to be true for us. And we are proving it. You're already proving it. You're already the outliers. And we're just going to advance this conversation together. And one of the things I find so interesting, 20 plus years ago when I started doing this work, if you didn't have those people, if you didn't have that support group like right there in your hometown or whatnot, it was a little difficult to kind of get that camaraderie. But not today. Not today. Now we can be, across the country and across the globe and really benefit from the energy and the enthusiasm and the insights and the wisdom of, not just your healthcare practitioners, but the people who are really living it and doing it and being such points of inspiration. So that's what we're going to be diving into. That's the point of everything we're doing. And I am absolutely committed and determined that those of you who are working with me on a consistent basis, we aren't going to age the same way everybody else. That is not happening. Thank you. I knew some of you agreed with me. That is not happening. We are looking at age in a completely different way because with the science, with the technology, with everything we have access to, why choose the old way? Why choose the get old and decrepit? That makes no sense. And that's not acceptable. It's not acceptable for anybody who I'm working with. And, and for those of you who, you can't get access necessarily to practitioners like me, I want to give you here's part of an amazing community, and there's more out there like it. So just enjoy. So let's talk about aging. And the most important thing about aging, the most important thing, why, get to, our 60s or 70s or 80s or 90s, we want to be able to do awesome things. That's the key. Why live longer if you're sitting there on a couch watching TV? Who needs an extra decade of that? We want to be doing really cool, really awesome things all the way to the end, right? My favorite quote, we are meant to live life like a candle, burning brightly all the way to all the way to the end, flicker once or twice, then go out. Burn bright. We're burning bright. So number one, just know what you're wanting to do. Know what is important to you. Some of you have real ambitions for traveling. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, those of us who've done traveling, you realize traveling, especially outside of the United States, is very different than traveling within the United States because they do not have the same accommodations. Okay. They don't have the same, like, working where they don't like have people movers everywhere you want to go over in a lot of these other countries, especially as you're getting into these more historic regions. You need to be able to climb some stairs, okay? We got to be able to walk some distance. There's no handicap parking. There's no parking. You're going to need to be able to cover some distance. Ah, wonderful. It's so good to see you. I love it. Arkansas is represented. Wonderful. So here are, what do you want to do? So traveling is one. Some of you, your family is so important to you, right? Your family, and you want to be there. You don't want to be the grandma who's old and achy and sitting down on the couch and just complaining all the time. You want to be the one out there with the grandkids. You want to be playing and throwing the ball and kicking and just all of it, right? So that's really important to some of you. Some of you really have your own, like, your own things that you want to be doing, projects that are really important to you, maybe some ministries, maybe some mission work. Let's bring up mission work. Mission work is so important, and who needs, I mean, really, mission work, when we're retired and we have resources and time, that's incredible, right? Whenever you have like everything that you need, but so many individuals, they don't have the energy. They don't have the energy to serve, right? Well, who wants, no, not us. That is not acceptable for us. We are going to be able to do the work that we know is important and part of our calling, again, till the end. So you got to know what you want to do, because here's the thing: is you can't just wake up one day at 70 years old and decide, like, okay, now I'm going to go climb a mountain. You got to build up to it. Okay, you got to keep moving in the middle. And movement is so important to aging. They say a body in motion stays at motion, a body at rest will stay at rest. Well, oh man, does that get so true. So, so true. As we age, so you got to keep moving. Now, one of the things though, so again, those of you I work with, I love you guys so much. Can I tell you something that you all say a lot that doesn't work for you? And you say, well, I'm always doing something. Well, that's good. That's better than sitting on the couch watching TV. But you really have to be like challenging your body. See, after the age of 40, we start to lose muscle rapidly. And simply like, keeping up with the chores, even gardening and everything, it doesn't quite measure up. I wish it did. I'm cultivating like 3 acres right now. I wish that was all I had to do, but it's not. And how you know you're getting behind? So when you look on your lab tests, there are two numbers that are really going to tell on you. Number one is creatine kinase. You almost never see somebody with low creatine kinase, almost, low creatine kinase. And in general, that means you're not keeping up. Okay. So if your creatine kinase is, yellow on the low side or red, you're not keeping up. So whatever you've been doing, while that's awesome, you got to do more. Okay. The other number that's kind of telling on you is glucose. If your glucose is elevated, so let's say above 90, definitely above 100, you're not metabolizing that glucose. So that means your muscles are not glucose absorbing machines. We want your muscles to turn into glucose absorbing sponges, because glucose floating around in your blood, it's just kind of toxic. It attacks all kinds of stuff. But glucose soaked up into your muscle, oh, that's pure raw energy. So, if you're noticing that I just don't have the energy I used to have, if you're noticing that, yeah, and your body's telling on you in your lab results, between the various different numbers, if it's telling you we gotta get moving, we gotta really push ourselves harder. Okay. And especially as we age, we do have more time for this. Now let's dive into the can we dive into the elephant in the room with regards to motion? And that's when we notice the aches and pains, right? That's when we notice the aches and the pains. And that, let me tell you, if that doesn't make you feel old, oh, I know. And I kind of want to bring this up, maybe because I'm living it a little bit right now. So I just ran a half marathon a couple weeks ago, and I'm running another one this weekend. And I'm like, oh, wow. Yeah, I'm feeling a couple things. Okay. Um, so let's talk about aches and pains. All right. So first of all, no, Oh, hello, the Bennetts. I love you guys. Ah, wonderful. So good to have you guys. I appreciate it. So many of you who, well, first of all, we talked about the signal patches. We're going to be talking a lot more about those because those are just amazing. And those of you who have, tried out your signal patches, yeah, I know I'm going to get some love here because some of you have already sent me incredible messages about how great your signal patches are working. If you don't know about signal patches, I'll probably do another episode or whatnot on those and what we're doing. I got some wholesale. Anyway, incredible pain relief. I've been really, really impressed. But aches and pains. Number one, you can't fight it. Okay, that's so one of the things we tend to do is we tend to resist pain. We tend to like, ugh, oh, I can't, but we get mad and angry and upset and all that. Not as we age. As we age, you can't fight it. You need to gently challenge it. Okay, so what I mean by that is like when that shoulder is like actually this is my shoulder that you got to like okay where is it where am I where is the nuance and just gently go through and listen to what your body is trying to say and just gently lean in to where you're feeling the restriction, lean into and this is a very this isn't powerhousing through, this is not no pain no gain. But what I'm going to tell you is that the more time you spend understanding your own frame, it is incredible how you recreate. We're going to talk about proprioception a lot. It's a neurological phenomenon of making sure that your brain knows where that joint is. And when you injure that joint, the connection gets lost. And then the brain can't protect it. So it's just kind of out there doing all kinds of things and we keep re-injuring it. We keep hurting it over and over again. But by reconnecting, you're hitting the most powerful thing you can do for for not only healing your different joints, but also just creating how do I want to say it optimizing the vitality. Because here's the thing: is a joint kept in balance doesn't age. I've seen X-rays of people who 90 years old and you can't their knees their spines their joints you can't tell how old they are. They stayed in such perfect balance. And then I've seen, you know, 15-year-old gymnasts who look like they're 70 years old. So it's just about the wear and tear and the balance. So number one, just reconnecting. I know that seems so simple. It seems too simple. Like, can that really work? It does. It really, really, really does. Um, Now, the other thing I want to encourage, okay, as we age, we just have to get smarter, okay? We just have to get smarter about how we use our energy and how we use our body. So, one of the things is we have a tendency to get thrown off because we want to do this particular project or we want to do this thing, and then our bodies are like, no. And we're sore, we're hurting, all of that. And here let me first of all just challenge. It when we're young, we can use just pure raw energy to power through problems. As we age, you need to think things through just a little bit further. And you know what? That's not just a good, I mean, that's wisdom right there, is it not? I mean, so let me give you a quick example. So just this past weekend, um, you guys know it's spring. It's gorgeous outside out here, in Tennessee. I'm just outside of Nashville. It's absolutely wonderful. The daffodils are coming. The dogwoods are starting to bloom. It is gorgeous. So obviously we're doing all of the outdoor work, and I have these huge planters that needed to get moved. And I'm going to tell you, you know, 20 years ago, I would have just been like, you try to do it myself, first of all. Now I'm a little smarter. I'm like, I told my husband, like, hey, let's grab we need to move these planters. They can't stay here anymore. And in my head, I was thinking, I'll take one end, you take the other, and we're going to kind of like maneuver these massively heavy planters, from one end of our yard to the other. And you know what? In his wisdom, he's like, no, stop. We're not doing that. Where are they going? What are they going to do when they get there? Where do they, and we really one thought it through because, okay, he knows me. We would, it's been a thing where I was like, oh, not there. Oh, wait, maybe over here. Okay, let's try it over here. These things, I'm going to tell you, these things were heavy. That wasn't going to happen this time. He's smarter. No, wasn't going to let me do that. So we figured out where they were going to go within like two spots, just to see what they look like. Had it all measured out, and then he went and he got the dolly. Oh my gosh, it was so easy. We put the dolly, but the dolly has been sitting in the garage. I just didn't think of it. I didn't think of it. Here's my whole point in telling that story. With that dolly, we were able to very easily navigate this incredibly difficult project in a fraction of the time, no wear and tear to our bodies. I got the planters exactly where they need to be. They're gorgeous, and we're all better for it. One of the things that we need to stop doing, sometimes we just get hung up on an idea of how things are supposed to be, and then we don't get past it. And then we get mad because of, we're too old, our joints hurt, blah, blah, blah. And let me just tell you it's the wrong idea. It's the wrong mentality. And so sometimes why we need good people around us to say, hey, wait a second, there's a better way to get this exact same thing done. Um, and the beauty of aging well is allowing ourselves to just get very grounded in the solution, to get very grounded in what is the ultimate outcome, not how we're going to get it done. And I want to, I want to bring up a point there. I talked to I love my mother. She's one of the people who's inspired me with regards to a lot of the yard and landscaping and all of this cultivation. But one of the mindsets that has really become kind of a detriment is she's just decided that, she can't do this anymore. And now she needs, young, strong men around her to do all these heavy things. And that what ends up happening? She just ends up waiting. Nothing gets done. She's not able to make very much progress because she's just so determined things have to be a certain way. And it's really interesting because my aunt lives a block away, and she just has one of those go getter mindsets. Same age, same age. And you know what? She just bebops around and she just makes it happen. I mean, the same woman, my aunt, I'm going to tell you, she's 5 foot nothing, travels the world all by herself all the time. She was just in Iceland for New Year's because she wanted to see the New Year's fireworks with the aurora borealis, with the northern lights behind it. Who does that? My aunt does. And you know what's so cool about that? I mean, she didn't even think twice about this. Yeah, of course I'm going to go. Of course I'm going to do that. And she's like that with everything in her life. You know what? If this is something I want to experience, there's a way to do it, even well into her 70s. It's inspiring. So very, very inspiring. So here is here is one of the things that I'm just going to say is as we get older, it's not about settling, it's about being smarter. Just be smarter with how you want to do, what projects you take on, how you'll go about the projects, and what this is going to do for you in the end. So that's on the project side. Can I bring up sports? Okay. Now, let me just say I'm probably maybe I shouldn't profile here. Maybe I'm talking to some of the men, who, you just remember just loving some of the different athletic things that you used to do. I mean, some women too, we had our things, and I think men just identify a little bit more with some of their different things that, like, again, things that they did used to be able to do, whatnot. Okay, there are some sports that were not all that good of an idea, even when we were teenagers. Let me just say, tackle football and gymnastics. when I so I broke my ankle whenever I was like 15 years old and had to go to the orthopedic surgeon. And in the orthopedic surgeon's office, there was, you're looking around at all the people who are in there. There's like basically two reasons why somebody under the age of 20 was in the orthopedic surgeon's office. And one was tackle football, and the other one was a whole bunch of cheerleaders and gymnasts. Anyway, some things just may not be the greatest idea, but for those of you who still want to participate in very specific sports or different things like that, and that's something you want to do well into your later years, but you're questioning like, okay, oh, I can't do that anymore, but my joints ache or whatnot. First of all, take a moment to really assess, is it even true that you can no longer do that? Maybe yes, maybe no, maybe modified. But what was it about that sport that you love so much? And maybe how do we do it in a better way? Okay. The example I'm going to give here, for in my early 40s, I was still doing a bunch of Spartan races. If you're not familiar with Spartan races, they're so much fun. Oh my goodness. So they are very like military-esque kind of obstacle course endurance races. So you kind of like pair a 5K with a mud pit and a whole bunch of like different like monkey bar exercises, and climbing ropes. It is something else, and I just loved it. And in the recent years, I've been thinking about it. I just don't know if that's a good idea anymore, because especially like with the mud pits and everything, it's really easy to kind of you know get your foot stuck and twist something, or it's really easy. They're so slippery. They're so slippery. So easy to have a fall, and I'm like, I just don't know if that's wise. But when I really think about it, and I'm remembering like what it was that I loved about those so much, because I was doing them with my son. It was a thing that he and I did together, and that's what made it so special. The mud wasn't the point. It was like us working together as a team, working our way through this obstacle course. And it was something that he enjoyed, and then we enjoyed together. You know what? There's other ways to bond with my son than falling down in a mud pit. Okay. So what are some of the things, maybe for those of you who are, missing some of the athletic things, what are some of the things that maybe can be a great, much smarter modification? Take a moment, but here's the number one thing: just, you are not a victim of your age. Okay, yes, the aches and the pains and the joints, they are going to talk to you. And I'm going to tell you that, again, with modern technology and everything that we have available, our joints do not need to be the deciding factor that they once were. That's just not true anymore. Just simply not true. But even with all that technology, even with all the advances, we do need to be more cognizant of recovery time. Okay. So I'm going to stand by this one. There's, with regards to, you can do anything at any age. I think recovery time becomes much, much more important. And really being able to listen. And when I say recovery time, I'm talking about like stretching and, somatic work, which is back to that proprioception, connecting your brain to the various joints that have gotten injured. Real quick, with regards to some of that somatic work, um, if you're familiar with a simple exercise called cat cow, it's in yoga where you're usually on all fours, and you kind of arch your back one way, and then you arch your back the other way, and you arch your back this way, and you arch your back that way. And with the whole thing is to be able to move your pelvis and be able to, get, be able to do that particular movement. I was really shocked when I was doing regenerative medicine how many people had so much damage to their low backs they couldn't do a cat cow movement. They would just be like, they just stay there. They're like, I can't find it. They would, I can't find that part of my body. See, that's why we keep getting injured. That's why we feel so much older. Whenever they started to connect and they could protect and they could stretch and they could adapt what was going on in that area, it started to repair, it started to heal, and the injury stopped happening. So recovery, recovery. So, somatic movement. One of the things, and again, I'm saying this because I love you guys so much, and I really do listen to what you're saying and what you tell me and all that. A lot of you on here, you are perfectionists. You want to just do everything right, and you want to do everything. Okay, you really do want to do it all. You want to do it right, and you want to do it right all the time. And you just want to, like, next, 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 next. You have your to-do list, and you want to check them off. And you have lived your life that way. One of the things I'm going to encourage you is, as you age, we do want to take a moment, instead of powering house through a to-do list, we want to take some time for physical and mental, just being present. Okay. This is this if there's ever a time, and doing these stretching, these stretches, doing this somatic work, again, finding those joints, being able to move them, really diving in. It's not just physically therapeutic, it's mentally therapeutic. How many of you, we've talked about fight or flight. We've talked about fight or flight and how you're constantly in fight or flight. And the most profound hack for flipping your nervous system out of fight or flight into rest, relax, digest, heal is breathing. But yet your to-do list, I gotta get through this to-do list. I gotta get through this to-do list. I don't have time for that. We need to reprioritize, because when you are able to give your body the physical recovery that it needs, and mentally connect and breathe for a second, you're going to be shocked by the way your brain is going to connect to way better solutions and way better ways of going about just about everything in your life. I have my best ideas when I'm doing my stretching, when I'm doing my somatic work. That is such a powerful time, and don't rush through it. Again, what the dishes, they'll still be there. They're not going anywhere. Take the time for you, because chances are you'll find a faster, better way to get everything else done in a fraction of the time. So, and that's one of the things that I'm just going to say, like, as we keep talking, and those of you who get on office hours every week, um, I'm going to tell you that is something that we are going to be doing a lot of, is like better ways to do the things that are important to us. So, um, one last point I want to make on this before I kind of start wrapping it up. A lot of us are at war with our bodies. A lot of us have absolutely been in a me against my physiology. Maybe you've been sick for really long periods of time. Maybe you were sick as a child. Maybe your weight has been an issue almost ever since you can imagine. So many of you need to stop being at war and instead make your body your ally, because it's the only one you get. And being at war with it is not getting you the results that you're looking for. We need to form an alliance. And how do we do that? It's by stopping, pausing, and doing some of this kind of somatic work that I'm talking about, stretching, connecting, doing some of these things where we move through our different joint to find it and reconnect and to understand what it is and what it needs and what it's asking for. And I know that sounds kind of ethereal, but just start doing it and you'll know what I'm talking about. You'll catch on to what I'm going to. And if we want to get into anything very, very specific during office hours, I'm happy to. There's all kinds of different things that I use. I will say right here, my goodness, sorry. like it's sitting right here. So I like these rollers are amazing. I use these for so many different things, for stretching purposes, just because it's, well, it makes it more fun. But I mean, like rolling out tight muscles, rolling out, putting this, under my spine and rolling it out. I have a spondylolisthesis at L5, which means my vertebrae has a tendency to shift. And man, gosh, that feels so good whenever I can kind of roll that out and let that just settle and drop in. There's so many different ways to connect, and being able to keep your body doing what your body's designed to do. And I'm just so proud of how all of these things, I'm not just, this isn't theory. I mean, these are working. I just ran a half marathon a couple weeks ago in one of my best times ever, better than I did 15 years ago. My time's better than 15 years ago. And this time I actually ran the whole dang thing on the phone talking to my daughter, because we were working through a problem, and I literally ran faster talking the whole time, addressing a problem that we were trying to solve. And it's just so cool to see how my body's responding better than ever, better than when I was powerhousing through. So that's my encouragement to all of you. So here's just what I want to end with. Do not let your age hold you back. Don't let it hold you back. I know that there may be some old injuries, there may be some old things for you. As you start engaging with these things, these things can get addressed. Okay, there's some of you, wear and tear has been real, but I'm going to tell you, for the overwhelming majority, don't let age, don't lose sight of how profound, okay? Don't lose sight of how profound it is that we need to keep living, not just do it. We need to make sure that our days and our lives, and it all matters, and it's all going towards the right thing. We get so caught up in our checklists and our to-do lists, and let's get through all of these different things. That are you getting to the things that you thought you would? Are you doing what you really, really hoped you would be? Because we need to keep on. We need to keep the adventure. Let's keep let's keep pushing and challenging and doing new, amazing, creative, glorious, beautiful things. Don't play it safe, and let's just get inspired, and let's inspire others. Because let me tell you, I many years ago, one of the best, most amazing humans on this planet. He is an incredible leader. Has built institutes all over the world. I mean, he's done so much with his life, and he does it just with ease, just like effortless. And he's led groups five times, 10 times, 20 times bigger than the groups that I was leading at the time. And I said, Doc, I gotta know, how are you not exhausted? Like, I'm working with a tenth of the community that you're working with, and you're doing it like it's nothing. And he said, well, let me just tell you, I'm gonna give you my secret. He said, I did it the way it used to be, like you, and I used to really, be trying to inspire and motivate and be everything for everybody. And he goes, and I was exhausted, and I couldn't do it, and I was so limited. And I felt like every day, all I was doing was trying to convince all these people around me to run up the mountain with me. And he said, frankly, you know what? It didn't work. So then finally one day I just realized something. You know what? I'm not gonna push anybody up a mountain. I'm just going to run up the mountain and inspire anyone who wants to join me. Here's where we go. Let's go do it together. And that is the way he led his life. And I have to say, it really is amazing. I'm talking about you. I'm talking to you. Who are you inspiring? What mountain are you running up that is inspiring so many of your friends, and maybe people younger than you, so many of your family members, so many people around you? Who are you inspiring, not convincing them? See, we get caught in the trap. We're gonna talk you into things. No, just go run up the mountain. Let them see you do it. I've recently had this experience. My older sister, she's told me my whole life, oh, just wait. And, this at 30, it's all going to fall apart. I'm like, okay, I'm at 30 and we're fine. And then she's, no, 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 it's 35. I'm going to tell you, 35. When you hit 35, oh, it's all downhill. I'm like, okay, well, hey, I'm 35 now and pretty awesome. No, it's 40. Then 45. No, 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 no. When you hit 50, when you hit 50, that is going to be it. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, but still awesome. Okay. And it was so funny after all these decades of her, proclaiming my imminent doom. She finally said, okay, what are you doing with that blood work? Let's get that assessed. And she went through and she found it. And she also found some other problems with her digestive system. And she made the changes and she did the diet and she's doing the exercise. And let me tell you, she looks amazing. I mean, I am so proud of her. I this is a woman I have known my entire life, and she has radically transformed her entire physiology into her later 50s and is living like, now she's going on like, what is that called, rapids, like where the white water rapids, she's taking that up in her later 50s. I'm like, you are incredible, you are so inspiring. She's outperforming, her children. And it's so, so, so cool watching these transformations, and just being that next level of inspiration, not just her friends, not just, her family, which now I'm like, I gotta catch up. I'm okay. I thought I was doing good. But you are schooling me now. All right. See, now I'm inspired by that message, right? I'm inspired by that one. I wasn't all inspired by your doom and gloom, and you're gonna be all whatever, different age. But now I'm like, yeah, no, let's talk. Let's talk. I want to see more. I want to know more. What kind of classes are you taking? What kind of exercise and things? Like, man, your arms are rocking. She is doing it, doing it, doing it, doing it, and it, like I said, inspiring at just an incredible level. Why can't we all do that? That's all of us, right? So, and then, frankly, that's what the membership is all about. Watching each other do these incredible things and knowing that more is possible. So, listen, I love you all so, so much. I hope you have an incredible rest of your week. I'll be telling you all about how this weekend goes with the next marathon. You all be blessed and have a wonderful, wonderful day and week.